Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Jonathan Lindsey. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, rankings, news, interview review, commentary, pretty much anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this time, Jonathan Lindsey, his request is for me to do a commentary on the 1990 film Home Alone. So let's get to it. I have it paused at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. As we have the old school 20th Century Fox logo, which we will never see again because Disney bought them out and they changed the title. So it's not Fox anymore, it's 20th Century Studios or something. John Hughes apparently came up with this idea when he was going on vacation and he was trying to see, okay, do I have everything? Oh, based sort of a joke, oh, I hope I didn't forget my kids. And sat and went, well, what if you did forget a kid and a kid was by himself, maybe around Christmas time? Now, John Hughes, of course, he's the guy who directed The Breakfast Club, he directed Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, he directed Weird Science, but he was also a guy who would write and produce and for a while had a fairly successful career. Now, people forget how huge this film was when it came out. For years, this was like the most successful live-action comedy of all time. I think it was said like it wasn't until like The Hangover Part 2 that there was not a more box office successful live action comedy. Like, this film was huge. This film, oh, that's funny. Roger Gosdale, the editor. If Roger Gosdale sounds familiar, that's the guy who would direct the 2 live action Scooby-Doo movies in the early 2000s. But he was an editor at this. And Chris Columbus, the director, he had before this done Adventures in Babysitting, which is a fun movie. That's an entertaining film. I guess Chris Columbus was going to do National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but then he said Chevy Chase was a pain in the ass and treated him like dirt. So he's like, fuck this, I'm not doing this movie. So John Hughes is like, hey, you want to do this? Which was a great career move because this helped Chris Columbus get quite a few films after this. Of course, Home Alone 2, Mrs. Doubtfire. And the same director would go on to do Pixels, which I don't know what happened with Pixels, because I like this film. I like Mrs. Doubtfire. I love Adventures in Babysitting. But how the fuck do you go from that to Pixels? Which to me could have been a kind of fun, goofy concept, but just unfunny. Probably wasn't helped that Adam Sandler was one of those performances where he's pretty much a walking corpse. Might as well call him Bernie for Weekend at Bernie's. But anyway, that's enough about Pixels. But the cast in this worked well. Macaulay Culkin had worked with John Hughes on Uncle Buck. The same year, he was in a bit role in a film called Jacob's Ladder, which is a personal favorite of mine. But this is the film that made him the biggest star ever for about 15 minutes. And I say that because this is humongous and huge. Everyone did this. Yeah, Home Alone 2, also very successful. And then the other films he did, like The Good Son, not so much. Although I like The Good Son, but I think it made a little bit of money, just not nowhere this success. But I think The Good Son wasn't a flop. If you actually looked at the numbers, could be wrong. But other movies he did, Richie Rich, the one he did with Ted Danson, Getting Even with Dad, his stars started to dwindle, and then Family Troubles. Apparently Macaulay's dad apparently is just a piece of shit. Piece of shit, wanted to control his son's life, took a lot of his fucking money. That he's the one who made it, not the dad. Dad didn't do shit other than act like an asshole and make crazy demands. Like, my son gets the good son and he'll do Home Alone 2 and all this other stuff. Of course, this is set up just how ostracized Kevin McCallister is from the family. How all these brothers and sisters and cousins are just either making fun of him or push him aside and make it so that when he thinks he wished his family away, he's excited, at least for a little bit. And there's Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern are definitely two of the big shining gems in this movie. Without them, I don't think it would be as successful. Again, Macaulay Culkin does a good job. The other actors, like this kid Buzz, I forget the actor's name. They work well in what they need to do. John Hurd, which I know, well, I don't know, but I think he wasn't really the most fond. He probably liked doing the movie, The Paycheck, but maybe because like everybody always talked to him about this film, and he really, it's cool to see him in it. He's a good actor, but he doesn't really do a whole lot in these movies. I think that's a mistake for the second film. You know how in this one, the mom, what the hell did I forget her name? Catherine O'Hara goes to search for her son. I think the sequel should have been the father search for his son. But no, they just have the mother do it again. I'm like, come on. At least let the father do it this time. And, John Hurd, there's other films. Like, I would say if you don't want to watch John Hurd, go watch even this monster movie he did, Chud. That's a good film, and he's one of the stars of it. Does a great job in that. I know he was in a film back in the day called Cutter's Way. Rest in peace, John Hurd. Good actor. Underrated actor. I don't think he was as utilized as well as he could have throughout a succession of movies in his career. But he plays the dad in this. He does a good job. As does Catherine O'Hara as the mom. But, yeah, Macaulay Culkin, I always enjoyed him in the role. I never found him annoying or irritating. I thought he was a kid that definitely had a likable persona. You can see why audiences latched on to him, because he was a kid who seemed very tiny and small, but seemed to, I don't want to say be more mature, but to me, he never acted like a whiny brat. Me. Hey, it's the pizza delivery dude. Today that would be like Domino's or Pizza Hut, some kind of sponsor, instead of, what the fuck is it called? Little Nemo? And that's Macaulay Culkin's brother on the right there. Was it Kieran Culkin? But yeah, Joe Pesci plays the cop, but he's Marv. He's going undercover, looking at these houses to see what's in them, how their rituals are. Fuck, $122 for a pizza. Imagine that. Paying over $120 for pizza. $122. That's a lot of fucking pizza. But that's a lot of fucking people there. But Joe Pesci, I mean, he's a lot of fun in this, as well as Daniel Stern, and their chemistry of these two guys are just perfect. The way they play off each other. I think there are other people like Robert De Niro and such that they wanted for this role, but they said no. Then Joe Pesci did it. And Joe Pesci at this time, this was the golden time of Joe Pesci, meaning, he had been doing films before this, like Easy Money, which is a fun one he did with Rodney Dangerfield, where they played buddies. But it wasn't until, I would say, Lethal Weapon 2, where he really got into the mainstream. And Lethal Weapon 2 was a huge hit, big sequel for the summer of '89. The summer of Batman, summer of all these big movies. Lethal Weapon 2 made a lot of Doe, and people remember the Leo Getz character. He's definitely one of the big memorable points of Lethal Weapon 2. Wherever you want to get Leo Getz, you get it. And people, that came to such fruition that, hey, what can he do more of? So that in 1990 he had Goodfellas, he had this movie, two huge hits. Goodfellas, I think he was nominated for an Oscar, I believe. I don't think he won because I think, or did he win for that? Maybe he did win for that. Yeah, I think he did win for that. And then with the success of this at box office, Goodfellas box office, Oscar, yeah, I think he won in that. Then after that, you had My Cousin Vinny, which was a hit. And then you had, you see, he did the fan, not the fan, the Super, which he was a star of it. The Public Eye. And then films like those, like I liked the Super, but it didn't really do well. And then the Public Eye, no one even remembers. And Lethal Weapon 3 was a hit, but after that his star, I guess, kind of dwindled because they were not casting him in starring roles as much. Once in a while, a film like Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag, but he a very talented actor. After a while, he retired for a bit until I think The Irishman. But yeah, for a good while he retired. Which, I mean, is fine. Maybe he made enough money. I don't know. I'll say one thing. If he ever opted to get a percentage of the profits of this film, I don't think he did. But if he did, he would have made even more money. But yeah, Joe Pesci, talented guy. And works well in comedy, too. Like in this. And then Daniel Stern, they hired him, but then I think they said, well, the shooting schedule is going to be extended a bit longer. So Daniel Stern's like, well, if you're not going to pay me for the longer stint, nah, I won't do it. Then they hired someone else, and then it's like, no, this isn't working. We need Daniel Stern because him and Joe Pesci work well together. So they brought Daniel Stern back, and thankfully they did, because I think that is one of the big essential pluses of this movie, as well as Macaulay Culkin. You couldn't just cast any kid. Home Alone was a film that was a lightning in a bottle. That's what this was. It was a lightning in a bottle movie. He's proven with the sequels. Now, again, Home Alone 2 I like. I don't think it's nowhere as good as the first film, but I do like it. It is a lot of the same ground, only it's in a city, but it's, the mom trying to find her son again, getting there at the last minute. Kevin McCallister beating someone who he thinks is a scary person, but finds out is a kind-hearted person underneath. Getting the two criminals to a place where all these traps are put upon them. And everything in between. Even the whole gangster movie, using that to scare someone, and this is the pizza delivery guy, and the sequel, it was the hotel, although Tim Curry's pretty funny in that. So again, I can enjoy it, but like I say, there's no point in doing a sequel to Home Alone. It's because it was, again, one of the biggest hits of its time. So, do a sequel again. And then Home Alone 3, I didn't care for at all. I know Roger Ebert said it was the best of the Home Alone films. I don't know what he's talking about. I've never been a fan of Home Alone 3. Home Alone 4, I think that's the one where it's French Stewart as Marv, even though he looks like Joe Pesci's character. He looks like Joe Pesci's character, but he was supposed to be playing Daniel Stern's character. And then I think the next one, Holiday Heist, that's the one where Malcolm McDowell is a villain, and they run together. And I reviewed them, I don't even remember them. I know there's a new one that came out this year. I have not seen it, because honestly, no one sent in a paid request for it. So, Who knows? Maybe someone will send in a paid request. If so, feel free. But uh, I know there's a new one that came out that looks like absolute dog shit. But like I said, you never needed more Home Alone films. I like Home Alone 2, but you only needed this one. That's all you really needed, because there's no more story to tell. This kid's fucking nosy as shit. Mind your own business. It's how to hit the road, Jack. Mind your own fucking business. But yeah, this is considered one of the best Christmas movies out there, and I can see why. I mean, Christmas movies I enjoy, Scrooge with Bill Murray, Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, if it counts, Die Hard and Lethal Weapon and such. But if you're talking about like comedies, strictly comedy Christmas movies, I did National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Scrooged, Jingle All the Way, and if we're talking Christmas comedies, this would be in there. Of course, we have to introduce the idea of why they miscounted, why they think the kid's there. So you have this nosy kid, so they think that's Kevin. I mean, look how nosy this kid is, just going through someone's stuff. Fuck is up with this kid? And no one pays attention to him. Like, no one knows who he is. No one says hi to him. It's like he's a total stranger. He just goes in and fucking, he's like 2 steps away from a goddamn kleptomaniac. Just like, let me touch all your shit. Of course, the phone guy, we have to explain why he can't phone home right away. But that's another thing that this film works well is the music, the score and the songs. Like the Christmas songs they use fit well. Like this, you have an energetic song to showcase the urgency of them needing to get the fuck to the plane. Same with earlier with everyone just, and also because I thought John Hughes actually did a decent job writing where, okay, how could they leave a kid behind? Oh, they're in a hurry. They're in a hurry because all this stuff happens, so that they're not paying attention. Maybe there's convenience, you could say, but you don't have to twist some things because it's still a pretty, horrific idea that you left your kid all alone and you didn't notice. So how do you do that without thinking the parents are despicable people? I think this does a good enough job of that. And also, I was speaking of the music, John Williams. Give credit to the score. The score is one of John Williams' more underrated scores. I say that because John Williams is known for Star Wars and Jaws. But his score for Home Alone is rather good. I mean, the opening when the title comes up, like this whimsical tale, the little emotional moments work well. Like I said, it captures that Christmas whimsy, and it doesn't feel like John Williams is ripping himself off like some composers do with their work. And also, I think this is something that maybe kids could relate to. Like, what would happen if I was all alone and you have the freedom, but that freedom is only fun for a few days because then it's like, well, you're lonely and your parents can do this and do that and you have to do everything by yourself, and you're like, don't grow up too quick. Enjoy it for as long as you can. But I remember the VHS of this. I saw this on VHS because I remember there was a commercial for the airline that this was on. And I'm trying to remember what the trailers were. Maybe Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. Maybe I can't remember if there were trailers. Maybe that was a different one, different movie. But yeah, first time I saw this was on VHS, which the poster with Kevin doing this, and you have Harry and Marv, and but yeah, this film came out, and just no one expected this film to be this huge. Because I think at one point John Hughes was going to do this with another company. I don't know if it was Warner Brothers or some other company. And then, oh, I could do this for 10 million, but then it might be like 13, 14 million. Oh, that's too much. We're not going to do it. So then he took it to Fox. And Fox, man, they made a shitload of money off this. That's what's sad about Fox, is that you think of all the films they made that were such huge hits. From Back to the Day, of Planet of the Apes, and Star Wars, to even going in this area like Home Alone, and you had the Die Hard films, and you had Speed, and you had, Alien and Aliens, and Predator, and they still made so many mistakes, and they screwed up so many times that they got bought out by Disney. Among other reasons. Of course, a kid, his imagination gets away with him. And I don't remember how old Macaulay Culkin is. But I mean, you excuse his innocence. Like you say, the cars are here. They didn't go to the airport. Because, as a little kid, he probably doesn't know the details. And it's not like this is the time of the internet where a kid his age would already know what we 25, a 10-year-old kid knows because of the internet. They get a computer when they're 8. By the time they're 10, they know everything about it. Again, this is showcasing just what the family was doing. And I didn't remind people, why he's happy about this. And then, as a kid, what would you do if you're by yourself? For the initial jump, have fun. And yeah, John Hughes was on such a winning streak throughout this time. It wasn't until kind of after this, again, he wrote the film and such, but still, it's other films he was a part of that just were not doing as well. Like Baby's Day Out didn't do anything in the U.S., and he produced that. And then Curly Sue, he just... See, you would not have that nowadays. Looking at Playboy. At least they do that in an innocent way where he's like, ew, that's gross. Nowadays it'd be like cuties on Netflix. You probably couldn't do that joke either, because that's mean, that's un-PC. He can't say that girl looks ugly. That's un-PC. And it's like, well, just relax. Because this set up the BB gun, which will be used later. I did in 1990. I mean, this is well before the internet and technology today. Which then they try to utilize that in other movies, and it just... And yeah, I didn't see the new one. Angels with Filthy Souls. Which sounds like a porno, but it's not. This is a... I don't know if a kid in 1990, even in that year, would care about watching an old gangster movie like this. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I don't see a little kid. It's like... I was this age at this time. When I got to 1990, I was 7 years old. And, even, a little bit older than that, I was watching Predator and Rambo 2 and Rambo 3 and Bloodsport and Aliens. Like I said, Predator. So, but no, here you have something that they shot specifically for the film. Probably number one, so you don't have to pay for someone else's footage. And two, because you have to have them say certain things to work in the scene later with the pizza delivery guy. Maybe psychically she heard that. But yeah, this was came out in 1990, and that's such a good year for movies, man. Because I just look at that year and I go, wow, you got the 1990, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. You got Total Recall. You got this movie. You got Die Hard 2. You got I like The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Predator 2. I like The First Power with Lou Diamond Phillips. Let's see, Lionheart with John Claude Van Damme. Steven Seagal was coming up. Hard to Kill. If you're a fan of action and horror like The Exorcist 3, Jacob's Ladder. For me, it's like Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. Maybe a lot of people didn't like those movies, but for me, it's like, wow, I could pick and choose all these movies? Absolutely. I got horror movies, monster movies, action movies, and kid movies are actually worth a shit, like this. Again, the ability to do stuff. And this is before... I mean, you had video games, but the most you had at 1990 was Nintendo. You had... no computer, internet, and stuff. Which then that would make it a different movie, like I said, as they try to do in the sequels. The sequels, like I said, it just becomes a familiar formula that you just go, this is not nearly as good as the first one. Sometimes you could do a movie that has a familiar formula, Friday the 13th films, but even those felt more unique compared to that. Because, okay, let's have Jason goes up, gets a telekinetic girl. Oh, this time Jason's a zombie, and this time... it's actually Jason, it's not just the mother, and... here we have Stern and Joe Pesci. I think what it is with these two is that they're good actors. You hire good actors that work well and they can do serious, you can do comedy, and they're having fun, they're playing these characters, but it's not, in a way, it's not ham-fisted, they still feel genuine to who they are. Like, you believe this is who these guys really are. They feel like they want to be there. They don't feel like they're just taking a paycheck. They're not, oh, this is a goofy movie, so... some actors, I don't know if just their lack of talent or the way they're directed or written, but they just act like goofy and silly, but it doesn't feel genuine. I don't know how else to put it. It just comes across as annoying, like French Stewart in Home Alone 4. Although, sadly, there were worse offenders throughout like in Home Alone 3 with those crooks and Home Alone 5. I don't know why I said it on French Stewart. Because, I mean, he wasn't, when you have Daniel Stern and then you go to French Stewart, it's a big, it's a steep decline. I mean, you have fun and slapstick, and yes, the traps that appear in the third act, they'd be easily dead. But I think we enjoy them kind of like how we enjoyed Three Stooges back in the day. It's slapstick, but the reactions are well timed by people that... It's like anything else. You have to act it the right way, the correct way, in the believable, not because, well, yeah, you would be dead, so that's not believable, but I did according to those characters, they get hurt, they react, and you feel their pain, their suffering, and in a way, it's kind of like, okay, let's say someone, the old banana that someone slips on. If someone slips on it, oh shit, and you just caught it, maybe you laugh even when you shouldn't. But if someone grows up and they stop and they look around and see you and go, I'm going to slip, and then they slip and fall, it's not nearly as funny. It just becomes more obnoxious and annoying. And it's hard to put in other words. That's, comedy, which is subjective. And I guess that's in the eye of the beholder. So again, to me, the only good ones are the first two, and you only truly needed the first one, but the second one I can watch, like I said. 3, 4, and 5 suck, and the new one, I didn't fucking see. Yeah, you're not afraid anymore. You afraid now, kid? See, that's what I mean. Like he sees that, and that just seems like a genuine, believable reaction with his stream. Even as ridiculous as that, going to the camera, ah. I think Macaulay Culkin was a good kid actor back in the day. Nowadays, he seems accepting of his past, at least of his role in films, where he's referenced it, he's parodied it. He did a few episodes with James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd. I think they tried to play the game of the Page Master, and then I think they reviewed the movie Big Trouble in Little China. I know he had a podcast for a little while. I don't think the podcast is still around. I don't know what happened to it, if he gave up on it or what the deal is. I don't know what he's doing nowadays. This is another guy. I recognize the actor. I cannot remember his name. This is one of those guys I remember seeing a lot of other films. I recognize it, but it's not coming to mind now what they are. I did like Catherine O'Hara. Like her performance seemed genuine. And that's the thing. It's about hiring the right actors too. Not everybody who's in a movie is a good actor. I hate to be bearer of bad news. No shit. Well, yeah. Some people, Sally, you have to tell that face value. And yeah, there's a lot of convenience in this. Like if the robbers were not, like if the robbers tried to do another house instead of that one, then he would not have been outside and he would not have been scared. If he wasn't scared, he would have answered the door and the cop would have told him the truth. That's a shitty cop, though. I mean, you knocked on it for 30 seconds. Maybe the kid's sleeping. Maybe he didn't fucking hear you. Like, you literally went up and ran. I mean, yeah, cop didn't do much of his job. Although, to be honest, I mean, if you only have to wait 2 days, but that's not bad to wait for 2 days. It's not 2 weeks, or 2 months, or 1 week. It's 2 days. If your kid can't handle 2 days, then there's something else off with the parenting. I mean, in 2 days, what, you wake up, you eat, you watch a couple movies, you go to bed, you do that another, and then boom, it's all fine. So, in 2 days should be no problemo. Again, unless your kid is just completely up shit creek without a paddle in his fucking head. Okay, this is where we get to, like, the most famous shot in the movie. I mean, I think this is stuff people found, like, cute. Oh, he's acting like an adult. But again, yeah, here's the shot here. Oh yeah, he braced this whole fucking thing. And then we have to set up the spider, how it got out later on. For when he pitched up and puts on Daniel Stern's face. I laughed because I'm remembering Daniel Stern's reaction to that. And you talk about, like, a real reaction. Or a believable reaction. Yeah, I would assume they got a little person to be the stunt man climbing up there and then do the fall, and then there's that. His life savings don't seem much. His life saving, it looked like $5 there in ones, but it must be more than that. I would have to think, though, that with that many fucking kids in the house, that freezer and that fridge should be packed. I can't believe that there's no food in that house. Again, with how much fucking shit they had in the damn, they probably had a bunch of shit saved up because they had like 18 fucking people there. I mean, that fridge would be stacked. Keep it down a little in there. I will say it's funny, watch this again, and I'm realizing, like, all of the coincidences that have to happen. Like, they have to be there at the right moment that John Hurd calls. Thus they get the message saying, wait a minute, they're not home, so we can go try to rob them again. Again, it's like all these little things you have to happen, otherwise this is a problem that could have been fixed in, within the one day. Just lie and say yes. All you have to do is lie, man. Yes, it is. The American Dental Association said yes. Hey, you better buy this or you'll get sued. Just fucking lie and say, yes, it is. The kid ain't gonna know the fucking difference. Yes, the American Dental Institution wants you for that toothbrush. I will say with this old man, he wants to not keep scaring the kid. Maybe start with, hello? Hey there, how's it going? If you don't want the kid to be scared of you, you go, hey, how's it going? My name is such and such. What's up? Well, you stare at him like you're the fucking star of cuties. You're fucking ready for a pedo hunt. Yeah, the kid's gonna be scared of you. Strangers, danger stranger. Of course, the kid could just drop the fucking toothbrush before he walked out the store. Man, this cop needs to get in the gym more. Needs to pump it up. Hey, this slide move, is that why he does that in the Home Alone 2 game? That fucking slide maneuver to kill suitcases? There were quite a few, well, I mean, again, it was the most successful comedy of its time. There were a lot of video games. There was a Nintendo game that was just awful as hell. You just go around the house back and forth. You pick up traps, you leave them, and I think it's time-based. Like, you gotta survive for a certain amount of time, and then you win. And then there was a Home Alone 2 game. Was there one for Nintendo? I know there was one for Super Nintendo. Might have been for Nintendo as well, where there's a suitcase. You can, like, do this like you did on the ice. Slide with your knees. I have some weird levels in that. And then there was a Super Nintendo game of Home Alone 1. And I think that one, you, like, would find items and you put them in the laundry. You pretty much dump them into the basement and you gotta find them all. I think there's one for Genesis as well. And I think there might have been one that they were planning for PlayStation. With wet bandits, this is a sick thing to do. These two work very well. Speaking of convenience, if he wasn't walking at that time, or if he didn't, if they weren't, there's a lot of moments that are very convenient. Like, they had to be right there, and he had to notice the tooth. At least they do rationalize why Joe Pesci doesn't recognize them. He even said, I saw like 100 kids this week. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm trying to think, what was the damn thing they talked about recently? Because they try to cancel any fucking movie. I think my friend Michael CP talked about, like, there's some fucking idiot talking about how Home Alone is such an awful film because I forgot the fucking reason I forget it. It was so fucking stupid, I emptied it out of my brain. So, forget I said anything. Get running. And also the way it looks, they do get the Christmas setting fairly well. You see snow everywhere, which, like, I'm sitting there thinking, is that real snow? Because that's Like, you look in the far back, there's snow in a lot of places. Like, they really shoot at that time, or is it like fake snow? That's the thing with this movie, is that with how successful it is, there's not a whole lot of features. I mean, yeah, to be fair, there's a commentary. But then, like, the featurettes, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. The making of Home Alone, how to burglar-proof your home, the stunts of Home Alone around the world, where's Buzz now, behind the scenes of Macaulay Culkin. Like I said, it does seem like a lot of stuff, but I mean, it's more than a lot of other movies got, to be fair. But I don't know, it just seems like something that would have like a decent documentary to it. Michael Jordan. This is pretty damn intricate. I don't know how the fuck this kid thought of this. I never would have thought of this, and how the hell you would... And why does the McCallister have all these mannequins? See, they have this mannequin by the window. Like, why the fuck do they have these mannequins there? Something we don't know about? Like, why do they have all this shit? It was a pretty smart idea, and again, he was able to do that pretty damn quick. But I'm just wondering, like, where did he get the mannequins? And why do they have mannequins there? Can someone answer me? Is there something I'm missing? Yeah, I know the cardboard cutout Michael Jordan we saw earlier. That was in Buzz's room, maybe? But, like, the mannequins, like, where the fuck did that come from? But, yeah, I'll say this trip does seem pretty shitty. It makes me go, why did they go here in the first place? I mean, I guess if that didn't happen, they would have been looking around the sights and sounds. But, I just imagine, like, how much money they spent on this. Like, this expensive hotel, like, tremendously expensive room. The plane ticket, to France is not cheap. But then look at all these people involved. You had the mom, the dad, all these kids. Dude, you act like more of a jerk, fuck face. Talk about the character, not the actor. Buzz. The little jerk. You're the fucking one that caused all this, honestly. So I was laughing because it's just the way the Buzz. A, 2, and D. Little Nero's Pizza. I don't know, sometimes I watch these films from the past and go, I wonder what happened to, like, this guy, the pizza delivery guy. What happened to him? Did he go on to work again? What's he doing today? Is he in the movie business today? Did he quit and do something else? Maybe became a pizza delivery guy. I don't know. Yeah, what about my money, fuckface? I mean, thankfully the pizza delivery guy talked so that he could get all the answers from this tape. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a shitty pizza dude. I'll call Ninja Turtles to kick your ass. Back to Mayberry. Dude, get the fuck out of here. That grand when you hear gunshots but you see no bullets. There's a party that's like, what the fuck? But I just he's smart. Like you don't take chances. I'm not gonna take chances. Granted, uh, you would think he would call the cops. Like this guy tried to shoot me. Why this pizza delivery guy didn't try to call the cops and go, hey, I was delivering a pizza and someone tried to shoot me. They need to have cops knock on the door, and then maybe Kevin would answer, and then blah 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 blah. There's another actress I know I've seen in other stuff, but I can't. I'm bad with names. Yeah, they just. I'll tell you one thing, man. She's offering a shitload of stuff to these two people. I mean, $500 and a ring and all this stuff. And yeah, I think the kid could fucking live for 2 days. And then what's the most ironic thing is she goes through all this stuff. Like she gave up all this money. All this, and she gets there. And the family arrives like, what, 1 minute later? Like if she just waited with the family, willy-nilly, fine and dandy, nothing would have changed. She got there like with all the trouble. She got there 1 minute early. I have to think like afterward to herself, it's like, motherfucker, man. I gave up my ring. I gave up my earrings. I gave up $500. I was in this poker van jamboree for how many hours? Fuck, man, I got ripped off. And I only got here like a minute earlier than the rest of the family. That's the other thing for later. I wonder if they did this scene, like, both of these at the same time. I would have to assume because you have the same hair, you have the same towel. I don't know why Macaulay Culkin's character does that. I mean, yeah, if you actually did shave and you get cuts and you do that, you would scream. But I mean, within the movie though, why does he do that? I mean, it's a funny moment. I got milk. I didn't. How many days has it been that he needs all this shit to buy? How many days has it been? Or did this family just have everything at the bare minimum? You tell me it's been what, a day? Or two? Maybe like 1 or 2. They said it'd be 2 days, so it's been what, 1 day? No, it's been more than one. No, it's been more than one, because I remember the nighttime with Marv and Harry tried to go in. They didn't. They tried to do it again, the mannequins. Then the pizza delivery guy. So it's been more than one, to be fair. I don't know how long. That's what I mean. They said it'd be 2 days. And then, I don't know. I think they explained I just fucked it up. So I'll blame it on myself, not the movie. Geez, you're a stranger. You got a point. You got a point. Honestly, I've had that shit happen. There was a point, I'll tell the story, why not? There was a point where I was in Iowa, and there's a point that I walked to the store and I bought soda, Mellow Yellow. I bought like, because when I go somewhere I want to buy a decent amount, so I don't have to go back again. So I bought 4 12 packs. 4 12 packs. Try to carry 2 on one, 2 on the other. Or sometimes, I would alternate. Well, then one time, one of them fucking broke. Because I don't know, like, one of them, I guess it wasn't packaged right. Went. So here I'm trying to grab all this shit with 3 fine and 1 had to alter it. That was such a pain in the ass. So I know the feeling of tearing bags and the shit just breaks. And just that. Now. I mean, these two just worked so well together. And it's lightning in a bottle. And you can't capture lightning in a bottle. And the other films... I forgot he said shit. Yeah, and this is a PG film. You get away with shit. Saying shit. But that's because it's 1990 PG. It's like back to the day in the 80s. You could have a PG film and get away with tits. Nowadays, you're canceled. He definitely has that VHS ready and prime on that one scene. Again, Daniel Stern's reaction sells it because you see the genuine fear. And I always like Daniel Stern. Daniel Stern was in this film. Leviathan. Personal favorite of mine. Daniel Stern played the character Six-Pack. You told me Becky one more time, Six-Pack. I'm going to pop your tops. All 6 of them. And speaking of Chud earlier with John Hurd, Daniel Stern was in that as well. So these two worked together. Although they didn't really work together in here because they were never on the same screen together. But they were in a film before this called States. I don't know no states. I swear Pesci did like a little Robert De Niro. Snakes. I don't know no snakes. You talking to me? Talking to me? Oh yeah, this is where she's going to get the polka jamboree game. Led by John Candy. I'll talk about John Candy in a minute. I'll talk about him now. John Candy, of course, he had worked with John Hughes quite a few times. I mean, he helped write... John Hughes helped write National Lampoon's Vacation, or at least produce it, which Harold Ramis directed, and John Candy had a big part in the third act as a security guard at the amusement park. And then would later work with John Hughes, who directed John Candy in films like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck. That's the thing with John Hughes is that, he started his career doing these films with teenagers, and then as the years went on, he kind of delved into working with adults, and John Candy was kind of the guy that he would work with the most, and in either directing, like Uncle Buck and Planes, Trains, or even writing a film like this. And I believe John Candy, he can only do one day, and so they shot all of his scenes in one day. It was like a 23-hour day. And part of me goes, how the fuck does that take 23 hours? Because, but I guess it's like, okay, well, you have to get the lighting, everyone, the extras secure, make sure they do the lines right. You get this camera over here. Then you gotta get this side over here. You probably can't do them at the same time, otherwise you would see the camera. Say within the van. So, like a long 23-hour thing to get John Candy's work in it. Which is nice to see, because I've always been a fan of John Candy. I remember, it's actually been years now, I even did a John Candy marathon on this channel where I reviewed a bunch of his movies. And like his very, very early work, I don't think was that good. Not because of him, but just because of the material, like the Clown Murders, which was... It sounds like a slasher film, but it's not. It's more of a... I don't know how you call it. I don't even know if I call it a thriller. But the Clown Murders, you had, I think one called It Happened One Night, or I forget the name of it. It wasn't until he was getting films like Summer Rental where things were turned around. Summer Rental was actually my personal favorite. Uh, well, it's that in Planes, Trains, Automobiles. Like I would say Planes, Trains is the better movie, but Summer Rental, John Candy, when he only has himself to hone in on. But then my favorite is Summer Rental. You like the Smurfs? You ever see the episode where Papa Smurf got his neck broken with I forget the damn thing. Yeah, I forget the see if I can look up the line. But because of the realization here that the kid is all alone. Which, I mean, I would say that is the main thing people take away from this movie, is a whole thing with the traps. Just, it does sort of become its own mini movie. A very entertaining movie, though. Which is the stunt work and the pratfalls, and again, it's that Three Stooges type of humor that you don't see a whole lot nowadays. Because people just look at it as too goofy, too silly, too ridiculous, too... liable to be canceled. Man, and just how it is. I've never been a fan of polka. I always thought polka was one of the worst types of music ever. I mean, I'd rather listen to country music, and always hated this fucking thing, man. And I can sympathize with that. I'm trying to remember what that quote was. Okay. You get out of here, Phil. I'm trying to watch the Smurfs. Yeah? You trying to watch the Smurfs? Did you see the one where Papa Smurf took a crutch and smashed the shit out of a guy with a red hat? Did you see one? Huh? You want to see that one? Because this asshole just walked into his place and started eating food on his bed, and yeah, you want to see the one where Papa Smurf took a crutch and smashed the shit out of a guy with a red hat like yours? You want to see that one? Again, that always cracked me up. Okay. And then we have this kid. I mean, he's... How do I put it? He's, doing what he can. Oh, wow. Hold your little paw. Bullshit my dick. Fuck out of here with that. Or like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this shit? Wannabe fake ass Santa Claus? Fuck is that shit? So I'm wondering what I'm doing. I'm trying to look up trivia for this film. Joe Pesci teared forgetting that he was filming a family movie during his character's onset outbursts. So director Chris Columbus advised him to say fridge instead of the F word. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern felt indifferent about the movie's potential, so they intentionally gave over-the-top performances. But I thought they worked actually rather well. Yeah, this movie made $477 million worldwide. It's pretty fucking insane. I guess there was another composer that was supposed to do this, but he backed out, so then John Williams stepped in. Let's see. Sorry, I know I'm not saying much, but I'm just looking to see. Culkin was only allowed to work on set 5 hours a day because of child labor laws. The trailer featured deleted and alternate scenes. A TV anchorman warns viewers to be on the lookout for the wet bandits. In the supermarket scene, the manager of the supermarket stands behind the checkout girl and asks Kevin the questions checkout girl asks him in the theatrical cut. And there's some additional dialogue between Harry and Marv just before they go to Kevin's house. "Kids are stupid, I know I was." And Harry goes, "You still are, Marv." According to Chris Columbus during an interview with Alec Baldwin on Baldwin's podcast, didn't even know he had one, John Hurd was unhappy about working on this movie, feeling that the movie was going to be terrible. However, upon seeing the finished product and its subsequent success, Hurd apologized to Columbus when they were shooting his scenes for Home Alone 2, having broken character before his first take to tell Columbus. Columbus says he still had footage of Hurd's apology on videotape. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting, sweet. Chris Columbus was previously hired to direct National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He met with Chevy Chase, however. It became clear Columbus that the two of them would not get along. He asked Hughes if there were any other projects, and this was one of the options. Let's see. Yeah, again, Chris Columbus did Mrs. Doubtfire. He also did the first two Harry Potter films. The highest grossing movie of 1990 domestically, while Ghost with Patrick Swayze was the highest grossing movie worldwide. Apparently that scene we saw with the Santa Claus, apparently Chris Farley auditioned for that and he didn't get the job. Apparently that was the case. So I'm trying to think. Little Nero's Pizza is a parody of Little Caesar's Pizza. Didn't even think about that. Yeah, this is initially a Warner Bros. Production. Practically the entire crew from this movie also worked on Only the Lonely, which was a John Candy film, and Home Alone 2, which was in 1992. Yeah, this guy here, Robert Blossom, he played the lead role in Deranged in 1974, which was a version of the killer Ed Dean. So, Robert Blossom here. There was a board game based on this movie, published in 1991. I didn't know that. Sorry, I'm not saying anything. I'm just looking through this. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of trivia on this. Wow. Like, I'm not even halfway through, so I'll just end it. Yeah, apparently, yeah, shitload of trivia for this. In the original draft, Harry and Marv worked for Uncle Frank, who hired them to rob Kate and Peter's house, and also to kill Kevin, and Kevin getting left home alone was deliberate, and that Uncle Frank had Buzz eat Kevin's pizza, so Kevin got sent to the third floor and cut the power line, so the family could forget about Kevin in the chaos. It wasn't used in the final draft. Damn. I mean, Uncle Frank is an asshole in this, but would have been even more so in that. Shit. We have some really good music by John Williams. Like, this stuff here really signifies the... I think Macaulay Culkin made this map himself. I could be wrong. And here we have all the traps. We got the little micro machine type of things. We got icing the steps. Yeah, I think when you got to this bit here, this is where it went from, it's a fun, fun setup. But these last really the third act, last 30 minutes is when I think the movie became a classic. I do. I think when you have this music, well done by John Williams, doesn't seem hokey, doesn't seem cheap like these direct-to-video films, and just sort of the setup for war, where you're just going to see this physical pain inflicted, again, Three Stooges style, that would kill in real life, but again, you accept it or you don't. Whether that's because of a set of goodwill or you just, again, enjoying the actors, and you know, it's well shot for what it is. Like I said, the music is more than competent. The actors, they're just doing a good job. Kids are stupid. But yeah, apparently, yeah, that in the trailer that would have been longer, where Joe Pesci goes, "You're stupid, Marv," or something like that. It's time for war. I'm sure they did try to have something where Kevin McCallister, like, he had a son and his son gets left home alone. But it's like, just, again, let sleeping dogs lie. Knocking. Tip a ducky, but you can't come in. We don't want any. See, this is what you do if the person is a Jehovah's Witness. Say hello to my little friend. How do you say hi to a Jehovah's Witness? Right in the clincher. Would you like a watchtower? His ball got hit. And this BB here, I think they said is like hand painted. Which makes sense. You can't shoot a... You don't want to risk hurting someone with a BB. I mean, it's a BB, but still. That up close. Yeah, I think that... This is before, you know, CGI was not that big of a thing here, so... There was some like The Abyss in '89, but... I think that BB was hand painted. Each shot hand painted. So like a form of animation. It just keeps going and going. There you go. And good on the stunt people. Like, that might not seem much, but you try slipping on a step and you have to fall on your back in what looks like hard pavement. Same with here. Like, okay, you don't slide down these steps. Hopefully you don't break your fucking leg, your ass. And yeah, dude, good on the people for doing this. Also, as well as Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci, their work committing to it. Again, it's their reactions that feel that make it work. It's like the Three Stooges. Like the Three Stooges, they were expert in that. I don't want to say mime, but that craft. Like, that's a good stunt. You have to fly backward, hit your back, and topple over. And you can't go half-assed. Just for understand, if you try to do that, you don't even get more hurt. And it won't look good. So you fall back and like you flip, like bounce back. Oh, there you go. I mean, it at least looks like a movie. It doesn't look like a cheap direct to fucking Disney bullshit. You know, the cinematography, lighting, the even like the camera work here. Boom. Might not seem much, but I mean, you hit the right shots. And yeah, in real life, he'd have a fucking busted nose. It'd be broken over here. There'd be blood coming there. I know people on YouTube have done that, where they've taken this film and they change the effects so they are they are getting killed and such. Oh, here it is. Yee. It's like the guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark. There you go. So far, you've had both get shot by BB gun. You've had Daniel Stern slip and fall, just like Joe Pesci slipped and fell, both at different steps. Yeah, Daniel Stern with the iron. Ooh. See, this is what made a real reaction to me. Will you step on the nail? To me, that's a real reaction. I don't think that's over the top. Does he burn his head with such a torch? And then Joe Pesci's reaction just kills me. Same with Daniel Stern. I did this look like a real person. Okay, yeah, put this fire on your head. And then this makeup. It might be one of the things kind of like a hat where it looks like skin, but it's just the top part of the hat with the makeup effects guys. I would assume that's what it was. Ugh. And you know that's not what Joe Pesci would actually say. Well, you little motherfucker. I'm gonna take your fucking head. I'm squeezing a fucking vice. I'm gonna fucking... The R-rated version of Home Alone. There you go. If someone wants to do... If you want to keep fucking remaking Home Alone, make the R-rated version of Home Alone. Where the kid really does murder the fucking burglars. Like he keeps doing these and they just get to a pile of fucking nothing. Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind. I don't know why it's the feather thing gets me. It's this. I think because it's, with all of the crazy stuff, like it's just the most simple thing. This is the one that makes me like, because I just feel, especially when he steps on the one bulb and it like explodes. Because you know, if you ever had the feeling of glass, even one little bit in your hand, and it's when right here when the the explosion of the bulb. Right there. Again, the reactions are just on point to me. Why are you just like a chicken? Why the hell do you take your shoes off? Ooh, there you go. I would say Joe Pesci's Daniel Stern got a little bit more pain. His feet got fucked up and the iron to the face. Some of the stuff with Joe is like, okay, he got feathers on. You know, feathers, it's not as awful. Ooh. Knocked out his tooth too. I think this also was an inspiration. I mentioned and other stuff like 1990 had Ninja Turtles, huge hit. So then you had stuff like Surf Ninjas and Three Ninjas and stuff being made because okay, what's a kid thing we could have? Okay, so Macaulay Culkin at one point said, "Oh, I have a plot hole with the movie. How come I don't just call the police when they're robbing the place?" Well, apparently Macaulay Culkin hasn't seen this in a while because he just did call the police right there. Now, I don't know why he didn't call sooner, to be fair. Why didn't you just call sooner? Why didn't you call as soon as they were there? Or you just call them... I don't know why he waited. That'd probably be my fun. You know what? That'd be my stream as well. If I had a tarantula like that on my face, I would stream just like that. So I can't blame Daniel Stern for streaming like that. I really can't. I really cannot. I get just this genuine plea from Joe Pesci. Marv? What are you doing, Marv? What are you doing? And there's probably a bit for a lot of people out there. There's a small part of you that wants Marv and Harry to win. Maybe I'm alone in that, but I would not be surprised if people, if people said there was a small part of you that wanted Marv and Harry to win. This is, I think, my favorite line. Just deadpan serious. Maybe committed suicide. That to me is genuinely fun. It's just how fucking stupid. Maybe committed suicide. What? Are you scared? Are you afraid? And kudos to the stunt people. I mean, Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci definitely did work on this too, but also again to the stunt people doing this stuff. Taking some pretty hard hits throughout this whole finale. Yeah, this was definitely the worst decision. Here we go. Oh, but I was saying before about like you had films like Three Ninjas and like inspired by the Ninja Turtle films. I guarantee you also another for that film Three Ninjas, as well as a lot of other movies. They were inspired by the success of this. If you have burglars or other bad guys coming in, and then they get littered with a bunch of traps or beaten up and trying to find silly, goofy, maybe creative ways to mess with, defeat the bad guys. Like there's been that one movie, Three Ninjas, where these people try to come in to kidnap these kids, and the kids, I mean, you use a martial arts but other stuff to beat these guys up in all sorts of silly, goofy ways. And people are like, hey, Home Alone meets Ninja Turtles. At least for a portion of it. This time he made the wrong decision. Can you imagine how much of a different movie that would have been if they did succeed and killed this kid? Like the next 10 minutes, they're just beating the shit out of the kid, put a iron to his face, burn his hand, then they throw him out the window and he just done like dinner. Then credits roll, and they're trying to have the music, like Christmas music, while Catherine O'Hara gets home and sees her son. Remember the beginning of Scream with Drew Barrymore? That's where Macaulay Culkin's body becomes Hun, and just while Harry and Marv drive away cackling with all the money, go to get naked in Tahiti or whatever. Trevor, what house is he in now? I guess just at a neighbor's house, but I just probably like Robert Blossom's the old guy's house. I would assume. But yeah, like I've said before, this is a movie that you only needed one movie. You didn't need multiple films. You just didn't. You just didn't. There was no reason for it. Obviously, they did because there was a lot of money to be made, but like I said, it just... But there was no point. uh... Wait, that's not, What the fuck is that food? It looks like, what, carrots? Is that carrots, or what the hell is that food? Yes, you are a bad parent. We already know this. You're on the road 49 weeks playing really shitty polka music? I mean, when you watch this stuff with John Candy, it still makes me wonder how it took 23 hours to film this stuff, because like you look at it, there's not a whole lot of stuff he's in. I mean, there's the airport scene and the stuff in the van, and the stuff in the van, it's like, okay, you find a van, you put him in it. Conversations last, I don't know, a minute or so. And yeah, that's the last of it. I don't know if they shot a lot more, but again, that's like what the three scenes John Candy's in. Again, the airport scene, the first time where they're with the polka, and then that scene there. I'm like, all that with 23 hours? I'm like, there's something I'm missing about that. I know it takes time to make the film, but I'm like, 23 hours for those three little scenes? I'm like, again, there's something to it. I'm missing, something that they're doing wrong. But yeah, I miss John Candy. I did into the 90s. He was starring films that were okay, like Only the Lonely and Delirious. I thought they were okay. Cool Runnings was fun, but then you had what was that one? The Canadian Bacon. I thought that was pretty bad. Wagons East. That became his last film. That was awful. At least the last film he made. I don't know if that was the last film released, but that was the last film he made. And that was just fucking awful. He never should have been a part of that. With his condition, being out there riding a horse in the fucking heat, all that stress, you know. But Sally just, he needs, just, it's sad. It's sad. He should still be with us. Because he's of that era of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, and they're still with us, so if he took better care of his body and health, he'd still be with us, and it's sad. Would have been really nice. Like, I could have seen a film where like John Candy plays the dad and Chris Farley plays the son. Like have like a father-son comedy movie or something. If it's not his son, then like his nephew or something like that. If it's not his son. I mean, fuck, Adam Sandler did that film That's My Boy. So, would have been better than that. See, again, she got home and literally like 1 minute later, they're back. And she must be like, you telling me I rode all this time in a fucking van with listening to polka music and you guys got home literally a minute later? I spent all this money and $500 in my ring and you guys got home a minute later? Motherfuck my ass, you know. Holy shit balls of fire. By the way, how is it that the cops don't ever let this family know that he defeated burglars? You would think the cops would at one point, we need to follow up. Your son was a witness to these crimes that, you know, they tried to... And the whole fucking basement was flooded. Like, remember the whole basement was flooded? Wasn't it? I swear like the water was running and stuff, so what do you do? Clean all that shit up? Oh, you know, talk to the cops. Talk to the police. Because we fucking... The cops would have to talk to him, I mean, the family sooner or later, a follow-up. Yeah, we arrested these two guys, stole a bunch of shit. Your son caught them, along with this old guy. What, he didn't tell you? I just with John Hurt again. He's a good actor, and there's not much for him to do. Pretty much walk around on with a phone, say a couple lines, pick up a tooth. But he's still good in the role. Just nothing to it. I don't know why. It also reminds me of the. I don't know if people remember Mad Magazine. They would do a lot of different types of cartoons, and they did a parody of this as well. It was like all the family members yelling at Kevin McCallister at the end of their version of Home Alone. I wish I still had some of those Mad magazines. There was also one called Krat as well. It was Mad Magazine and Krat. I pissed in your room and I came in it. What you gonna do about it? Merry fucking Christmas. Shit. Got so excited I dropped the microphone. There we go. Sorry about that. But yeah, that is Home Alone, 1990 classic. I still think it's fun. I still think it's entertaining. I forget what that one stupid critic online was talking about. Oh, Kevin's either Probably something about canceling and bullshit. People with too much fucking time on their hands is what it is. But yeah, it didn't need sequels. I know there's a new one that came out because Disney bought Fox, and then they said, let's make a bunch of money. We got all this shit. How we make some easy money. So one of them, do another fucking Home Alone film, and do another Predator film, and do an Alien TV show because we need that. And shit just goes on and on and on and on. But yeah, we got Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurt. John Hurt got fourth bill. That's pretty high. Because their Tethered Era was more in it than him. Trying to see, there's a... I may not recognize their name, but there were some other faces I did recognize. Anyways, if you wonder, like, what happened to the polka band member Eddie Corosa? Yeah, but with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.